Your boy Shaky. Guys, I'm still over my cold, so guys, please forgive me if I sound a little bit scuffed today. But today's video is titled, BDO could be the best MMORPG. This video is in response to a fellow peer of mine who used to make BDO videos. He recently quit. If you guys don't know who I'm talking about MorrolanTV. He recently posted a video of why he quit BDO after 5+ years. And it got a lot of traction, and I think it's good to have a discussion about it. Now, his video was about 2 hours long. Before I started making BDO videos, he was kind of like one of my few motivations to like start making videos for BDO. So I definitely sad to see Morrolan go, but like I definitely appreciate what he's done for BDO in general. And you guys should definitely go check him out, go sub, watch his video. Hear it with some open ears, and definitely go watch his Twitch because he's transitioning games, so that can always be a tough period, so make sure y'all go check him out. I just wanted to kind of respond to his video because I mean, he couldn't have said it any better. Like, there's a lot of things that could be fixed in BDO, and his video is 2 hours, so there's a lot to really talk about. I kind of want to talk about some things that he said, and I want to highlight how we can fix some of these issues. Also, if you guys have played BDO in the past or haven't played in a very long time, BDO has become the most accessible it has ever been to new players with the season servers and how they're adjusting some grind spots and how much silver they're injecting into the economy. It's become very playable for new players, and if you're a new player and you dedicate yourself to grinding and putting up your gear, you can see yourself catching up to current siege or endgame players for PvP in like 4 to 5 months if you really put your time and effort, which is pretty reasonable for an MMO nowadays, to be honest. So the game has definitely changed a lot. BDO does do a lot of things right. When it comes to MMOs, BDO has revolutionized combat. It's got the best combat out of any MMO you are going to play. BDO has it. It's fighting game style combat, it's action, it's fast, tons of cancels. You feel super good to PvE and grind and kill stuff in this game. BDO did it absolutely right. They hit the nail on that. The other thing I think BDO doesn't get enough credit for personally is that this game, it offers you progression without being time gated by dailies or weeklies such as other MMOs, right? Like in BDO, you can just hop on, go grind, and get some progression. Okay, I think those are the two strongest suits for BDO, and I think that's what BDO has revolutionized in general. And I think that's why it's so tough for BDO players to transition to other games or other MMOs, is because the combat and the freedom of being able to progress whenever you want has truly revolutionized the genre. And that's kind of why BDO is kind of one of the biggest MMOs right now, and it is growing with seasons and all that good stuff. But I do want to talk about some topics in this video, so let's get into it. The biggest thing that I really wanted to talk about was Morrolan's point on them going out of their way to ruin fun. Okay, now I want you guys to hear me out and stay with me here. So the example that Morrolan gave was them patching out an instance of desert enhancing that he did in the stream, and then the next update they patched it out for whatever reason. This one really hit home because I have seen this in my lifespan of playing BDO. I've seen this a lot. More recently, I've seen this with Elvia. Okay, now let me get my point across here. Something that BDO players have asked for the most, or just any new player in general, is group content. Group content is something we really want in this game, because all the group content that exists in BDO right now, it's not rewarding. You're better off doing solo content for progression. It's not by like 50 mil, we're talking about like 100 mil plus, in some cases 200 mil. Solo content just better. So it's made group content very undesirable, and that's very odd to have that kind of thing in an MMORPG, right? MMOs are about playing with other people, doing raids, dungeons, all that stuff. And in BDO, you have this game with beautiful combat, beautiful graphics, but then you can't play with other people because it's not in the meta. And with Elvia, when Elvia came out, Elvia was a really cool expansion when it first came out. So when it first came out, Oryx was actually already one of the best spots, and the Castle Ruins was pretty on par. It was like 50 mil less as a 3-man grinding spot, And then we had Bloody Monastery, which was slightly worse than Orcs. And this is when LV had first come out. People loved it. Even the other two spots, the Imps and Naga spots, were great. But the problem was that Alter Imps was not giving good enough silver as a duo spot, and people wanted that to get buffed. Respectively so, they did buff it. However, now guys, keep this in mind. People already thought as Orcs to be the best grind spot. Now for some weird reason, when no one asked for it or suggested it, they decided to buff Orcs, the solo grind spot, 2 times in global labs. They buffed it twice. They lowered the HP of the mobs, you know, DP values, HP values. They did all these changes to Orcs. And that was really odd to people because Orcs was already the best grind spot, and it actually offered more money than Star's End. And to see Orcs get buffed was crazy. Now, in my mind, when I saw this, I think it was because Castle Ruins, a 3-man grind spot, was on par with a solo spot. So, BDO, whatever reason, group grinding, can't have that, we're gonna buff Orcs. You guys catch my drift? When they reworked Gyfins and these other group areas in the game, they weren't done properly. They were kind of nerfed horribly. So my question is, why is group content not given love in this game? Why is it not buffed? Why has it always been put behind solo content in this game? It's really weird. It's an MMORPG. We should be able to play with our friends, grind with friends, content creators being able to grind with other content creators. It's just not possible right now, and I think this is probably one of the biggest issues in the game, and it's kind of alluding to that fun factor. I think if people were able to play with their friends on this game and group grind, people would love that. So why don't we have a discussion where we buff these group spots, right? Now guys, respectively so, I could also feel that a solo player would feel like, well, I don't want to be forced to group grind, I want to play by myself. And dude, that's completely fine. I'm not asking for group spots to be buffed to be better than solo spots. I think this should be as good, right? I mean, let's be honest. Everyone likes to play the game a certain way, but in BDO right now with the way it works and why it's gotten dull for a lot of people is that they feel like the only way to play this game is by themselves and progress in a circle, like I'm doing right now in this video, grinding by myself solo to progress. Can't play with friends. If I play with a friend, I'm gonna make 100 mil less an hour, and that's not fun for me. And it's created a kind of a toxic atmosphere, right, for players in the game that want to play with other people. It's just really weird. There's like really no good reason to not buff group spots. To reiterate and kind of emphasize how we can kind of fix this. And guys, I will get to the dungeons in a second because they are adding those. So nowadays, Star's End has become as accessible as early as 235 AP Kudum, which you can get 235 AP Kudum and like soft cap DP off of season in like a week if you know what you're doing. It's really easy. So someone who's been playing for a week can go to Star's End, start getting that juicy 200 to 400 mil an hour depending on how many discs they get, you know. And it's, you know, we have a spot like Paddock's Island that's 270 AP, 324 DP, AP DP requirement that makes less silver, but it has higher gear. That's a duo grind spot. Abandoned Monastery 284, you know, 335 AP DP, you know, higher gear but makes less money than Star's End for a seasoned player. Duo grind spot. Miramox EXP dump doesn't give any silver. Why? It's as accessible as Star's End. Why shouldn't Miramox give as much silver as Star's End? I don't see a reason. Gyfins, you know, they kind of made it a little bit harder to grind nowadays. Probably, you know, 270, 3 AP, and like 335-ish AP DP. Makes less money than Star's End. I could go on and on about these group spots. The only 2 group spots that make decent silver right now is Morrolans and Castle Ruins. However, again, these 2 spots make less silver than Orcs and Bloody Monastery. Morrolans is one of the hardest grind spots in the game that requires 3 people, and there is a one-shot mechanic in Morrolans. Yet it makes almost 100 mil less an hour than Orcs, and Orcs is much easier to grind as a solo player. So I think this is a very flawed system, and I do think that these group spots should be buffed. I think that Paddocks, altar imps, and you know, these two spots should be equivalent to Star's End in money. They should be rewarding you at least 250, 300 mil an hour with Lootscroll. And to top that off, I do believe that spots like Churros and Abandoned Monastery should be making as much as some of these Alvia spots. Respectively so, I do believe that Castle Ruins should be making as much money as Orcs, and I feel that Morrolans should be making the most money in the game. Why? There's a one-shot mechanic. You can lose billions of silver and crystals by dying. You will literally die here to grind the spot. People die here a lot. If there's one-shot mechanics, there's no reason for it to not be the best money in the game, right? For how hard it is. So, I definitely think the solution to this problem is for PA to just revisit these group spots and just buff them and make them as good as solo grind spots. I think that's the first thing we can fix and address. I do think this is one of the biggest complaints of the BDO player base, and it's the biggest reason why some people quit the game. So if PA is listening, I do think that revisiting group spots is a very good idea. One is that not only going to entice new players to play the game, but it's going to bring back veteran players, and it's going to bring back players that quit, because there are some people that just simply just stop playing because there's no group content, and just bringing it back in would be a great idea. Now, respectively, let's talk about the dungeons they're adding to the game. Like I said earlier in my video, BDO does the freedom of progression really well. Now, I don't know how the dungeons work, and I do know they are open to change. Now, with the dungeon system, I believe it is going to be done once or twice a week, don't quote me, but I do believe the dungeon is going to be capped on a weekly basis. Number one, you are introducing a mechanic that is poor, weeklies, which BDO has already improved upon by adding the freedom of progressing whenever you want. So if BDO needs to have dungeons exist for group content, this is why they're adding it for group content. How do we solve this? Because I can tell you right now, if they add weekly dungeons to the game, players are going to be fed up by the fact that it's only going to be 50 minutes of content a week, and people have been craving group content in this game. So how do we fix this issue, right? We do know that the dungeon is rewarding. It does give good silver, and it's worth doing. So how do we fix the problem? Well, one thing BDO lacks is incentive to go grind. How do we fix this? An idea that I have as a solution would be, if PA wants to get rid of weeklies and dailies, because I know they don't, this is the whole reason why they made the open world in the way it is, and being able to progress whenever they want, a solution to fixing the dungeon problem that it's going to bring and how it's going to annoy players, you incentivize dungeons by rewarding people for doing group content. How do you do that? Well, you could make it so that all the group spots in the game, specifically only group spots, can drop a rare dungeon key at the drop rate of an accessory. So for example, you might grind Star's End for 8 hours, and the average drop rate is 1 key every 3 to 4 hours, which now grants you access to the dungeon. Do you guys see what I'm saying? So this now provides an incentive for players to go grind group content, because now there's a reward for grinding group content. You get access to the super rewarding dungeon. And not only will this idea get rid of the weekly, daily stuff that people don't want to come to BDO, it's going to incentivize people to go group grind. Now, alternatively so, for the solo player that likes to play solo, you can add a different key for solo players that gives them an access to a time attack or a survival mode. You could literally revamp the old modes that have been forgotten about. We can talk about Altar of Blood. They could rework Altar of Blood to be a solo, activity, and you get access to that by grinding solo spots, and you drop keys to that. You guys can create incentive to actually progress, because now when someone group grinds, they're looking forward to dropping keys and then running dungeons, and this will create cool social cues in game where people now have guild dungeon run nights, or they run dungeons on one day of the week, and it's like a super fun activity players can look forward to. And we know that BDO is going to add more dungeons, And this is honestly a free way for BDO to add more content to the game, you know? Certain areas drop keys to certain dungeons in the game. This is a great way to get rid of weekly dailies in the game, and it's a great way to incentivize group content in BDO. And this would be a great way to incentivize solo content in the game too, by revamping some old systems or adding a tower or something. I think this is something that they could do that would solve that issue. What do you guys think? You guys think it's a good idea? Let me know in the comments. Okay, now that we're done with PvE, I think that kind of solves what I'm saying, right? Like, no balancing issues. Just add group content. Let us access the dungeon by dropping keys, so we can keep the nature of BDO, being able to progress whenever we want. And buff the group areas. This will add the fun factor to BDO, and you're only going to get more players playing the game, which is good for PA. There's honestly no good reason to not buff group content. PA should honestly consider it. Please do it. The next topic I want to get into is the lack of PvP rewards in BDO for no reason. And there's no rewards for PvPing, ultimately, compared to grinding or lifeskilling. This has hurt the PvP scene in BDO so much that we've seen Siege guilds just quit as of recent, at least on NA, and PvP has now become a minority of the player base, which is crazy. With the game that has the best combat, isn't that kind of weird? It's weird, right? And I'll tell you why. I'm not going to talk about the HP changes, you know, mechanical problems of Siege or Node War. The bottom line is, there is no incentive or reward to PvP in Black Desert at all. You do a Node War, a giant 30v30 you look forward to at night, and you lose silver per hour because it doesn't give you a good payout. The Medals of Honor is not a good enough incentive or reward to go PvP in this game. The PvP, the way the system works in right now, it does not respect the average casual 9 to 5 gamer that works and comes home and wants the PvP. It's just a waste of time. It's just, why would I go PvP if I can go make 400 or 500 mil an hour at Orcs, right? It's as if the only way to progress in BDO is you have to grind solo in a grind spot. You guys see what I'm saying? You know, Node Wars, Siege, they don't offer a good enough incentive to PvP. I will talk about the karma system later, but here we are even now, 5 years later, there's no arenas, no 1v1 arenas, there's no 2v2, 3v3, ranked. None of this stuff is here. They're announcing that it's coming in the future, which is, we don't know how long that's going to be, but I'll tell you what. If this system comes in the game, which we know it's coming, if it does not offer silver per hour that's equivalent to grinding, it is dead on arrival. I'll tell you right now. You have to incentivize PvP in this game. And again, this is an update that can be fixed overnight in one update. One update. Just one, right? All they have to do is adjust silver rates for payouts in Node Wars per player. That's all they have to do. So what I propose as a solution to fix this, and again, there's no reason not to, T1 Node Wars should give you 300 mil silver per hour. So if the Node War goes on for 3 hours, and the winner should get 900 mil. Each and every single player that participated in that Node War for 3 hours, that won, should get 900 mil. If you lost, 25% penalty to the slow profit. This will reinvigorate PvP. It'll give a reason for people to go PvP. There's no reason to go PvP right now. It's just for EPing. And I feel like adding a silver reward will excite people. It'll excite people who love PvP in this game. T2s could be 350, T3s could be 400, and Siege could be 500 per hour. It's that easy. It's all they have to do is add a silver reward. That's the incentive to go PvP now all of a sudden. Now, someone who loves PvP is going to come home excited. They're not going to miss a single Node War. They're going to be like, yo, I gotta be there at Node War. I want to win this. I want to get to 300 mil an hour, 350 mil an hour, 400, 500 mil an hour. Why haven't we done this for Node Wars yet? You have a game with the best combat, and PvP should be rewarding. So I definitely think Node War rewards need to be as rewarding as PvE. There's no reason for it not to be. The new content coming in the future with ranked arenas, similar style. It's very odd that the people who are the most talented at PvP in this game are the people with less gear, because they choose to PvP and not grind, which results them in not getting gear, which is really backwards. Plenty of other MMOs, they offer rewards for PvPing of some sort, whether it's crystal, honor points, dropping gear, which that wouldn't belong in this game obviously, but you guys get my idea. PvP should be as rewarding as lifeskilling and grinding. There's no reason for it not to be. So I think that should be done. I think anyone could agree with that. Now I'm going to talk about two topics in one here. I'm going to talk about the Lootscroll change that got scrapped for no reason, and I'm going to talk about the karma system that griefs both the aggressor and the defender. I'm going to offer a solution to that. They had half of the solution with the Lootscroll change that they scrapped. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, some time ago in Global Labs, they introduced a Lootscroll change, and right now the way Lootscrolls work is that you pop a Lootscroll for 1 hour, you get a drop rate buff. And the reason why this is bad at the moment is because when you grind, you are now stuck to your grind spot for 1 hour. Because if you don't use it, you are wasting your Lootscroll. If you PvP, you are wasting minutes off of your Lootscroll. When you're on a Lootscroll, you are immediately angry someone's in your grind spot. It's just, for most players, it's not a fun system. What they did in Global Labs is they offered a system that would now make it into a point system. So now when you make a Lootscroll, you get a point bar. When you kill a mob, it consumes points. And now it's no longer tied by the hour, it's tied by your points. Okay? It's similar to the aggro system in BDO. Number one, this solves the hour by hour grinding. Number two, this makes PvP immediately less toxic in the game, because now you are no longer worried about minutes. It's just, okay, I can afford finding this guy and having some fun, or I'll just hop channel, find a different spot. I'm not losing any minutes on my Lootscroll. Why did we scrap this idea for the Lootscroll change? The current Lootscroll in the game, it does not respect the player. It does not respect the gamer playing the game, okay? The Lootscroll change, that with the points, that needs to get unscrapped. That was a really good change to be put into the game immediately and effectively, because that also indirectly solves the karma bombing problem in a sense too, because now holding a grind spot is no longer as detrimental. You're not losing minutes off of your Lootscroll anymore. Now it's just, I'll go waste my points on another channel, you know? Simultaneously with that problem, the karma system griefs both the aggressor and the defender. I mean, you can go karma bomb somebody. You can intentionally go kill a weaker player. The karma system does not protect the weaker player. It does not protect the winner either. It only griefs both sides. That's all it does. In this game, you can die and there's no penalty for dying. You just come right back. You guys want to know how I got griefed on Arsha? It's pretty funny. So you go to Arsha for this drop rate buff, which is the PvP server with no karma kill. And let's say you go to a spot like Akhman or History or Sakraya. Okay? I will kill somebody 20 times in a row, and I have pearls to pearl res. And this person can pearl res on spot without a penalty of cooldown of dying. This person can die to me 20 times in a row, res once, get that one lucky kill after 20 deaths, and then all of a sudden I'm kicked out of an entire instance because I don't have pearl res. Like, the karma system and the respawn system, it's just griefing both sides. Nobody wins, right? Like, you can be the griefer by karma bombing, or you can be the griefer by killing an undergeared player. It doesn't solve anything. Already as a whole, people are worried about their silver per hour in this game, and it's very uncommon that you're going to see a higher geared player go out of their way to bully a low geared player. It doesn't really happen. Also, that's not really a problem in this game because you have over 40 or 30, however many channels there are. You just swap channels. It's not that big of a deal. In my opinion, you need to get rid of the karma system, number one, and just find something better for now, okay? It's just nonsense. Number two, if you die a death in open world from another player, it should increase your respawn time. There is no reason for a player to be able to infinitely come back every 2 seconds after they die to you, you know, in a grind spot. That's what other MMOs do. I don't know why BDO just doesn't really adopt that as well. And if you add the Lootscroll change, PvP will just become PvP. It won't become so much of a griefing factor. Alternatively, being a red player in this game makes no sense because if you become an evil karma player, you're losing years, well, not years, but you're losing like hours of progression. Makes no sense. They need to rework that. There should be an incentive to go red, and there should be an equal punishment of going red, but the punishment should not be losing silver. It just doesn't make any sense. So Lootscroll change, they should unscrap it, bring it back, get rid of the karma system, and add a death penalty of respawn time. You have channel swapping, and you got the new karma system with the Lootscroll change. That will make things a lot better. I think that will make things a lot better. The karma system is really touchy in general, but I think for now, if they were to just adopt plenty of other MMO systems for death timers, and then think of a better system later, and then implement it, that would be better. And again, these updates that I'm asking for could be done overnight. It's one update. Lifeskilling systems being abandoned in this game. Yeah, Morrolan couldn't have said it any better. You look at the workshops in Calphion and you look at the node systems in the new areas, it's just not given any love, and this goes hand in hand with the market capping in BDO. They aren't actively adjusting the prices. They need to actively adjust a lot of these prices, and this honestly can't be done overnight, but they should consider revamping some workshops and allowing for new recipes for workshops and adjusting certain prices on furniture. A lot of the furniture workshops, for example, in BDO are just capped and no one wants to make them because they don't give good silver. It's irrelevant. They can just go grind orcs. They have this beautiful system of workers and nodes and empires, and I think it should be revisited, and it should become a system where workshops become viable again, and they should start uncapping some of the meats. Again, little Jimmy grinding wolf meat is not a problem. Just raise the price. I think a player who wants a life skill should be able to enjoy life skilling as much as they do grinding, PvP, etc. Similarly to the dungeons and stuff, they should offer little mini games for life skilling too that make it more fun. They had that with Lucky Arrow, but you can do other stuff too, like dimensions or like, you know, hot times that just happen. They could do all sorts of stuff, but I think life skilling should be revisited as a whole, and they should update the systems they already have in game, improve them, and make them useful, because right now the only node system that exists in BDO is connecting my red orcs node and getting level 10 there, and then that's it. And then I go grind there. That's really all there is to nodes nowadays. Empires and things like that don't really matter as much nowadays, so it would be good that they improve that. Alright guys, so lastly is PvP. The PvP balancing in the game, okay? I don't want to talk too much about this. I'm just going to talk about one thing, and one thing only. Okay? This is a damage modifier they leaked, I don't know, maybe 5-6 months ago, where they changed it. And what this is, guys, is this probably looks really confusing. This is what they did after for the classes, okay? And this is the change percentages after they made these changes in class modifiers, okay? So these are percents of how hard a class hits a certain class, okay? Now I want you guys to stay with me so far, okay? Now, to show you how much they don't play the game, okay? Stay with me here. So this is the percent difference of what happened with the changes. So this is showing me how hard a Musa hits a warrior, okay? Now, Musa is already considered by a lot of people a low tier class or mid tier class. And just by looking at the sheet, you can see Musa got nerfed when it's already a low tier class. This number one tells me they don't play the game and don't know what they're doing. And number two, what also that tells me is that Musa doing less damage to a warrior when that's already a losing matchup doesn't make sense. They nerfed Musa into Valk by 12%. Like, can you believe that? It's really weird, right? A warrior hitting a Musa got buffed by 2%. They made the gap that much marginally bigger. Okay, number two. You want to balance the game for PvP? I'll tell you something right now. This right here needs to go. How does PA know exactly what class should hit another class at a certain percent? This is why no one agrees on class balance in the game. Everyone's perceptive is skewed by the class they play and what their modifier is, and people don't even know it. This is hidden stats. I don't know why this exists. It shouldn't exist. I'll tell you right now, we can never balance damage if this is not removed out of the game. Tell you right now. This is so bad. It's so bad. I can't begin to fathom how dumb this is. I'll just say from a Musa point of view, I already had a bad matchup into Warrior and Valkyrie, and they made it worse. Musa into Ninja was already like a even matchup. They nerfed me here. They nerfed me against Witch and Wizard. I already don't have magic DP. I don't know why. They nerfed me against DK. I already don't have magic DP. I don't really understand here. Striker and Mystic are even more tankier to me now. I don't know why. I do more damage to an Archer this update, but I already have a winning matchup into Archer. Like, what? They really thought I should be doing more damage to Shy when they're already defenseless. I don't understand, right? Yeah. That just from a Musa point of view, that doesn't make any sense. And I'm sure some of you that main your other classes will look at this and also say that it makes no sense. I mean, look at Zerker. Berserker got obliterated here for no reason. Yeah, I'll just leave it there. I think that this system needs to go, and then the players feel it out, and then we can talk about PvP balance another day. I really don't want to talk about it because this system exists in the game. I don't know why it exists, but you know, it is what it is. But hey guys, if you guys enjoyed the video and agree with some of the topics, feel free to comment down below. But I will see y'all later. Take it easy. Peace.